All right, welcome to another episode of Shoot the Defense. I'm your host, Stel. I've got Steve and Rod as ever. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I'm good, Stel. You okay?
Yeah, a little bit shell shocked with what's been happening in the world recently, football wise especially. But we'll go into that in a minute. You good?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah.
Rod? We haven't started talking about Brighton yet. Do you have to go? Ah, there he is. You disappeared there for a second.
Say again, yeah, cut out.
I said you disappeared for a second. You're right.
Yeah, you?
Yeah, no, well, a few complaints. First of all, before we start, I just want to say something about Marvin Morgan, who passed away today. I was absolutely stunned to hear the news. Marvin was a former player, played for Shrewsbury and Plymouth. He created Fresh Ego Kid, did a lot of stuff for mental health awareness, and a lot more. And this came left field. It came as a massive shock to me. I don't know about you guys when you heard the news. No?
Absolutely, especially age 38. I wasn't aware of any illness, and I don't know the cause of death, but obviously thoughts, of him, and then thoughts to his immediate family at this time. But you obviously don't know much about it still.
No, I'm like I said, I don't know anything. And to be honest, I don't want to be going on Twitter and social media and looking for reasons how or why he died. I think that those are kind of things that should be kept, personal to his family. And yeah, let's just hope that his family can grieve. There you go. The other thing I want to discuss, and it's something that is hit close to home for me. Over the weekend, a friend, Jason Puncheon, was subjected to a lot of racial abuse. Now, Jason plays in Cyprus for a team called FC Buffer, and they played Abuel, who are undoubtedly one of the biggest, if not the biggest team in Cyprus. And I didn't know what happened until a friend of mine messaged me. He goes, "Did you hear what happened with Punch?" I'm like, "No." And he sent me a link to an interview that he gave post-match. And he was saying that there was monkey chanting from certain sets of supporters. And Punch said in the many years he's been playing football, over 500 games, he's never heard that ever. And for me, it's an embarrassment to the people on my island. It's absolutely disgusting. No one deserves that kind of treatment. But what's happened since has been nothing but a clusterfuck. It's been a fucking mess. The club, whose fans, well, in fact, let me just get it straight. The director of communications of the club came out at full time and said, "We're going to investigate this because in Cyprus, you can't just buy a match ticket. You need something called a fan card, which basically means that you've got your vaccine." And you provide your details, name, address, etc., and they know who's buying the tickets, and they know where you're sat. So they said, "We're going to look into this. We don't condone any of this. We'll investigate it." And lo and behold, this morning, the very same club on Twitter put out a long statement saying, Jason Puncheon had no right to say what he said. He's in no place to talk about ethics when he's the guy that was arrested in 2017. He also called Neil Warnock a crook, so he shouldn't be discussing this. It's got nothing to do with him. Now, fast forward about an hour later, Punch's club then came out with their own statement and said, "Well, this is the club who failed to condemn the criminal abuse and assault on kids." Now, for people that don't know what happened, couple of weeks ago, FC Buffalo played Upwell in an under-19s game, and there was a fight between Upwell's fans and some of the staff at Buffalo, where the Buffalo head coach he sustained head injuries. Some of the players, the under-19s, were attacked, and nothing was done about it. Nothing was said. It was just almost as if it didn't happen. So basically, what Buffalo said, well, you guys are quick to condemn Punching for what he said, but you didn't condemn your fans for what had happened. But what struck a chord with Punch was the terminology used by Abuel. And in the statement, they used a word to describe, how can I put it, his assault that he was arrested for in 2017. They used the word weapon, right? But the word that they used in Greek for weapon derives from the word gun. And for those reading the statement, it's almost as if they're insinuating that he used a gun instead of a weapon. And this is spiraling out of control at the moment. Punch has actually put out a statement on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure this is going to end up in court because it's gone too far. And this is a club. Now, listen, I support their crosstown rivals Omonia. I can't stand Apoel. For me, they're disgusting. You know, you talk about club rivalries. This is a deep rivalry. It's not about football. It's about politics. There's a lot of things. A lot of clubs in Cyprus have been created from political ideologies. And there are a lot of Apoel fans. I'm not saying the majority. I'm saying that there are sections of them, the ultras, who are right-wing nationalists, extremists, who have taken Nazi flags into the stadium over the years. It hasn't happened recently. Back in I'd say 2010, 2011 to 2013, they were taking Nazi flags into the stadium. Some fans were coming in with jackets with swastikas sewed on their jackets. In fact, there was a story, I don't know how true this is, but it was publicized in Cyprus, whereby some of these ultras went to Auschwitz and they draped a Nazi flag and actually made a music video, right? So these are the level of people that we're dealing with here. But as a Cypriot, I'm proud of my background. But to see this happening is not only deplorable, but it's embarrassing for our people. There's only a million of us on the island. It's not a big island. Everyone knows each other in some way, shape, or form. And look, corruption is rife in Cyprus. We know about it. We've seen referees having bombs put in their cars, set off for giving bad decisions. This isn't a joking matter. And I said to Punch today, be very, very careful what you say in your statement. Go to your solicitor, make sure it's kosher, because there could be repercussions. And I'm just hoping that UEFA get their fucking asses in gear and do something about this, because it's all well and good talking about it in the Premier League, right? Because, you know, we hear about it a lot, but it also happens in different regions across Europe and throughout the world. But these isolated incidents get swept under the carpet because of the size of the island. It doesn't matter how big the island is, how big a club is. There needs to be repercussions and ramifications, and it needs to be dealt with ASAP. And I hope that Troy Townsend gets involved because he knows about it. I'm sure Punch is going to contact UEFA. This has gone on for too long. And this club that I'm talking about, they have got the Cypriot FA in their pockets. And the sooner this gets dealt with, the better. I've spoken about this for 6 minutes. I don't know what you guys make of it, the whole fuckery. So please feel free to share your opinions. Anyone?
Yeah. Sorry, mate. It was, and I put up mic on because I was coughing. You know, because he wasn't really heard about this if it wasn't for social media. I didn't see it until I seen it on Twitter a couple of days ago, or whenever it happened, because this kind of stuff kind of gets buried in them places. So yeah, you say there's only 1 million people, mate, but it's only a small minority in it. So you've just got to wean this minority out and get them out of the game, because you know, it's, I don't know how many fans were there, but I'm pretty sure it was a small group and a small minority. So it only takes one to be racist. But it seems like there's a little group of them, but it just needs to be outed and needs to be sorted. And we've seen it before, you know, over the years now. These whole fines, UEFA and FIFA give clubs, so it's not really a deterrent. So I don't know. I don't know what goes on. We seem to talk about it. every other week or every other month. It's kind of getting boring, to be honest. It's just boring. Play football and people kneeling. So I'm not kneeling for no one. So I understand what they're doing, why they're doing it. But even though as a kid I was racially abused, and I understand why they're doing it and kneeling. But yeah, I'm not kneeling for no one. So everyone's each in their own, and everyone deals with it differently. And like you say, Jason, careful what he says because he's in foreign territory and just get through it. And like I say, get the minority out and
Steve, what's your take on this? And the reason why I want to elaborate on this a little bit because it goes back to what I was saying about the statement made by the club. Citing Jason's previous issues, so to speak. I mean, the word that they use is the word they use for weapon is obloforia, which basically comes from the word oblo, which means gun. And what it seems to me is that they're trying to spin it so that they're making it seem that the weapon that he was using to get arrested was a firearm, when in actual fact it's the word weapon that they're using. And it just appears that what they're trying to do is spin it so that if there is any legal, like for example, a character assassination, if it does go to court, for example, and the prosecution say, you're using this term to insinuate that he used a gun, they will say, well, no, we use the correct word for weapon. But it's almost as if they knew full well what people would assume. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do, yeah. Well, I think that tit for tat exercises and diversions and going back in time, dragging up historical true events are bad enough. Dragging up historical things and then embellishing them or lying about them is obviously, as you say, deplorable. But I just think the attention that it brings, a bit like a wound, Stel. Nobody wants it in the first place, and it happens often organically. But at the same time, you sometimes need the wound to happen to know how to heal it and how to fix it. And there seems to be a massive swell around the world now for some fairness, at times justice, and I don't think there's ever a time that this will get easier. And in the moment, it'll be quite raw for the ones involved. But I do think it has more support than ever. And in terms of raising awareness, I do think there's a generation lost who will be not necessarily racist, but they'll be certainly, shall we say, set in their ways. I think there'll be a generation somewhere in the middle that are happy to change and mend their ways. And I do believe there's a generation underneath us that will be all being brought up to behave correctly with the correct mindset. So I do believe that this can be a success, but not completely. But sadly, it's going to keep taking, like a lot of things in life, it's going to take wounds, trauma, incidents to happen, which isn't great for things to get better, because I do believe the swell of support surrounding these issues now is obviously bigger than ever I've experienced in my life before.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm just glad that my team came out with their own statement saying, well, we're not surprised that Upwell refused to condemn their racist supporters, because it's rife. But anyway, it is what it is. Let's move on. We've done 14 minutes of this.
Don't they have a black player playing for them themselves?
They got three. Three were playing at the time. Three on the pitch at the time, yeah.
Just obviously just education, that's all. It's just, doesn't matter what team they're playing for, they are racist, and it's an education. Like Stel says, there'll be a group now it'll be racist for the rest of their lives, but there's a young group that you can still reach out to and still change minds. There'll always be people that be racist, but you just need to cut them out and get them out of the game, and you'll do it eventually and slowly, but it's just one of them processes that's painful, and you've got to go through a few wounds to get through it.
Absolutely. All right, let's get over to the Premier League then. Actually, no, before we before we talk about the Premier League, haven't Preston sacked their head coach, Steve? You're gonna,
Yeah.
I think, you know, they.
I've watched a lot of Preston. He's always felt like a caretaker manager in the role. He was an assistant that stepped up, and he never really had the faith of the supporters. Aged in a pair of shorts, no real manager presence, no real brand of football which supporters almost demand these days. It's difficult at Preston in that tough division of the Championship, and I think they were bored, the Preston North End fans, of his existence. And then just a little bit like Solskjaer, when they were the natives were getting restless, they managed to go and get a good result at a game I was at Middlesbrough. And they've picked up a little bit, and they keep doing it. They keep toing and froing from form to inconsistency to bad form. But I don't think the Preston fans have done him any favours. They've had a local Lancashire derby this weekend against Blackburn Rovers, who were flying high, overachieving, and lost. And I think that darkened the mood even more so. And I've read tonight that he's gone about an hour and a half ago. And actually, Stel, I'm at Preston v Barnsley on Saturday. So I'm interested to see if they've got a new manager in time, or equally what the mood's like around the stadium now they've got rid of the manager.
Hand in your CV, mate.
I won't be, no, but I've looked at it, and it's a good club, a good job. Football in the Northwest, Rhodri will tell you, the supporters I think are quite fair, but love the football. They come out in the numbers. They've not been in the Premier League, but they're a good club, Preston, who should be doing just a little bit better, but I don't know what their expectations are. I could possibly see them going for Ryan Lowe at Plymouth, who's Northwest based, but he's took himself out to Plymouth and he's got an attacking style of football, we're led to believe, and he's had a promotion with Bury and Plymouth. I could see them going for Ryan Lowe.
He's got a really good relationship with the Plymouth chairman by the looks of it. I was watching, I'm sure you've seen it as well, Football Focus or one of these programmes where it was about Plymouth and the chairman's obviously got aspirations of getting in the Premier League, but I'm sure everyone has. But he seems like he's backing him there, but obviously, if it's a good deal and it gets him back up northwest, it's probably too much to turn down. But
yeah, it's not been mentioned, Rob.
To be a good offer.
It's not on the table or anything. It's just, it's just my instinct that I don't think Preston will go down, but they're hovering around the bottom places and they could easily drop down. And I think they just want some type of bounce, enthusiasm, style of play, and probably a younger manager like Stroke head coach. And when I looked at it before, I had half an hour thinking about it, and Ryan Lowe's the name I've come up with.
Yeah, well, Barnsley have got a new head coach. They got the former Swedish under-21 head coach. He got appointed a couple of weeks ago. They drew against Huddersfield, I think, at the weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, I see that.
There's a lot of young, good coaches out there. Michael Flynn, he's available, did a good job at Newport. There's a couple of us, but yeah, Ryan Lowe's done a good job as well, obviously at Bury and now at Plymouth.
I think what they all look for, they see young potential and what they're doing at the time, but this has never been any different, lads. But I think if you're an owner, a chairman, an investor, you are swayed by somebody who's had a promotion, and he's had two. Even though Bury are no longer in existence, he's had two promotions, and that really goes in your favour when you're competing against others for the job.
There you go. All right, let's talk about the Premier League then. And Arsenal tonight went to Everton, who were winless in 9, if I'm not mistaken. And Everton get the points. Richarlison could have had a hat-trick had it not been for 2 very close VAR calls. Arsenal, what can I say about Arsenal, man? Going forward, they looked absolutely toothless. They took the lead through Odegaard against the run of play. And, Everton were constantly doing the running, creating opportunities. They equalised, through Richarlison. And then Odegaard had a chance where it was probably easier to hit it with his right foot, but he went with his left. His shot was blocked. And then there goes Damari Gray in stoppage time with a lovely run from inside his own half, unchallenged. Tomiyasu backed off. White backed off. The ball bobbled a little bit before he struck it, which probably made it easier. But what an absolute hit. And then even before that, Nketiah had a chance, close range, hit the post. I don't know how he managed to do that. And right at the end, Aubameyang had a great chance. And again, his goal scoring record has been abysmal this season. He dragged his shot wide. But gentlemen, balance of play. I think Everton fully deserved that victory, no?
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely the second half. The pressure they were putting on Arsenal, and they're literally by toenails we're talking about by offsides. It's just the smallest of margins, and yeah, fully deserved it. And yeah, Arsenal seem to have fell off a cliff again. Seemed they had a good spell, and yeah, it's 2 defeats on the bounce, and they need to turn it around quick because they're not all sold there at Arsenal. There's a few haters I can see at Arsenal, and they'll be loving it. Trust the process and all this rubbish I see, and so yeah, it's fuel for him, and obviously he needs to turn it around. He's got a young squad there, and he hasn't got much to work with, so yeah, it's a difficult one. But Everton as well, after a bad result against Liverpool, the best way you can turn it around is playing your next game and getting a result, and they've done that, and they've done it very emphatically at home as well.
Steve, how did Arsenal not come away with at least a point? Obviously, they missed their opportunities, but these are clear-cut chances which they should be putting away, no?
Yeah, well, they've got a centre forward, as you quite rightly say, he's rested very, very poor this year.
Steve, can't hear, mate.
You can hear?
Yeah.
You quite rightly said the centre forward Aubameyang, he's got a record that's very poor this year. I don't believe this to be an insult, but his performances are milky, almost feather-like. You're not expecting anything from him anymore. So that shows you, well, I'm not anyway. The manager, I think, is milky. When he tried to show passion and show that he was tough and up for it, he made himself look silly on the touchline against Jurgen Klopp. And in Ben White, when it's going for him often in home games and they're bringing the ball out from the back, he looks a modern-day player. But when somebody like Richarlison wants to manhandle him like he has done tonight, Duncan Ferguson style, I've got to say, then he looks milky too. So you've got the one in defence, you've got one up front, you've got one on the touchline, and they just look soft. Soft normally brings inconsistency. It doesn't necessarily always bring misery, because occasionally soft can be quite good, but often it'll let you down. And I think Rodri summed it up perfectly. They got destroyed, Everton, against Liverpool, and that's their main fixture of the season at home. And I think it showed tonight that they're an honest set of players deep down. They were just outclassed by Liverpool. For me, it showed they liked the manager, because they knew if they lost tonight, the manager would be seriously taking some heat. And they love playing for these supporters who were good football supporters. And whoever they turned up against tonight, apart from it being possibly City or Chelsea, I believe Everton would have given a good game to tonight just through effort. And that's what's happened.
Should Godfrey have seen a red for that stamp on Tomiyasu? Was that completely innocuous?
Oh, well, I'm not convinced by Godfrey or Holgate. I think they played the game on the edge, and because they are not actually physically strong enough or technically good enough, I think they risk yellow and red cards by leaving sneaky challenges in, as opposed to being honest and full-hearted. I don't trust the integrity of Godfrey and Holgate, so I'm not convinced.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with my stream. It's crazy. Rod, what now for Everton? It's a good victory for them. As you mentioned, they lost to Liverpool, but they've bounced back with a good victory against Arsenal. Clearly, their squad does look like it needs more additions. I'm not too sure what's in store for them for the rest of the season, though.
Well, it's difficult in this season. You've got United and Tottenham fighting out for the fourth. You've got West Ham doing really well. You've got Aston Villa, who have picked up since Steven Gerrard have got there. Newcastle, who are paying money with Super Ede. So, Leicester have dropped a bit, but they'll come back. So, it's difficult. But, Everton historically have usually been in the top 8. So, you'd expect them to they do have spent a few quid in there in recent years, so you'd expect them to bolster the squad if the players are available in January. I never like buying players in January because you don't really get good quality, in my opinion. You know, they always get the good players. They're either out of favour at the teams they're at, or there's something else has happened. So, I'm usually wait till summer to get a good players in, but I'm sure they'll bring someone in January if, like I say, if there's someone available. But it's difficult. They have got a good squad. They have got a decent squad. Richarlison, Damari Gray since coming has been a revelation. Townsend on his day is really good. It's just midfield probably lack a little bit. Defensively, they could be a little bit stronger as well. But they're always going to score goals, and anyone can get beat off. Liverpool United, they destroyed them. Liverpool destroyed a lot of teams this year. So, like I said before, you get over that, you dust yourself down, and you can't wait till the next game comes and try and perform. And like I said, they've done that, and they've just got to replicate that now, because the game's going to come quick and fast. Christmas around the corner, so in a week you can get 9 points or 12 points and be up amongst it again. So you just got to keep that winning attitude and just go on from there now.
I tell you what, Rod, I bet Everton were glad they were playing against Bournemouth goalie tonight and not Arsenal.
Oh, he's done well for him recently, but he's always going to be carrying that. Same with
Stays for the cameras, mate. Stays for the cameras.
Or was it Chesterfield or AFC Wimbledon's goalie in net for him tonight? It wasn't England's number one. I know that.
Well, for Damari Gray strike, I think it was just more like a statue.
It was a good strike though.
A good strike. What did he have on? What did the goalie have on though? Timberlands with ankle weights.
Steve, we could do an Arsenal post-mortem all day, mate, to be honest. But
well, they made
we talk about it. Was that good Goonie then?
Yeah, Goonie.
Yeah, we're having Chelsea next.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We could do a post-mortem about Chelsea.
They made a hell of a load of fuss about the dive and amazing save that he made. The dive, it was amazing that he made. Yet tonight he had concrete boots on, so there's a bit of inconsistency there.
Just a tad. All right, let's do a post-mortem on Chelsea then. 3-2 loss at West Ham. End-to-end stuff here, but crikey. I'll tell you what, Chelsea defensively for all three goals. Wow. Where do we begin? Shall we talk about Jorginho's mistake, which led to the penalty, the foul? Shall we talk about, the winning goal in the last few minutes where Masuaku hit? I think Masuaku was that a cross? Was that a shot? So much went wrong for Chelsea from defensive areas, and it's kind of uncharacteristic of them. But Steve, I want you to talk to us about the goals that Chelsea have been scoring recently, because this is something that you said on the show last week about how Chelsea appeared to be more dangerous out wide, but through the middle they're toothless. Once again, 2 goals from out wide, 1 from a set piece. I think Mystic Steve is back on track again.
Well, thank you, Stel. Well, nobody can really pinpoint why Timo Werner hasn't scored any goals since he's come. He was prolific abroad. We have to say that Lukaku wasn't prolific before his injury. He was. You were waiting for him to really catch fire, and he wasn't doing it in the big games. And then you look at Chelsea's goals. They're better when Mason Mount plays. They are outstanding, scoring flick headers from corners. And they constantly put great balls into the box from Chilwell when he plays, Alonso when he plays, and Reece James when he plays. And scoring from across is beautiful, but it's so hard to do. And they should really be your bonus goals, because you're coming in from the side of the penalty area. I know Liverpool do that a different way with Salah. But the best goals, the easiest goals, are when you come in the front middle of the penalty area. That's where the strikers get 20, 25 goals. They get the poachers' finishes. They get the defenders making mistakes. They get the 1v1s, lift it over the keeper, lift it through the keeper's leg, put it through the keeper's legs. They don't score goals like that, Chelsea. So for me, City and Liverpool are better, and that they're a part of Chelsea because they score goals through the front middle of the penalty area, whether it be Jota or Firmino or Mane. or City's array, Chelsea don't score through the front of the penalty area. They score from the side. Great when they do, but it's not going to be enough.
Rod, so is there a problem at Chelsea? Is there a problem? Is this something that we can say, okay, they're not scoring a variety of goals from different areas of the pitch? Is it a problem? I mean, I'm looking at the amount of different goal scorers they've had this season. So I'm saying, perhaps it's not an issue. But at the same time, when you have someone like Lukaku there, you're expecting him to be banging in the goals. And granted, he's been injured and he's coming back, and I don't expect him to hit the ground running, especially when you're playing someone like West Ham, who defensively have been pretty solid this season.
Yes, but he's been there now. What, nearly a year?
Who, Lukaku?
Yeah, no,
man.
The manager.
Oh yeah.
So the very defensively, very good defensively. They don't let in many goals, but as the time goes on, more coaches can analyse how he plays, how they play, and obviously, coaches against him are setting up differently and obviously playing a little bit better as well. I think. I always think, after a bit, this is the Premier League, so it's the best of the best, and suddenly people work you out and people try and. Now Lukaku's a big miss as well, because he seems to bully the smaller sides, but it is a worry when you're not getting goals around the team. Usually, recently Tottenham, Chelsea have relied on players to pull them out. Hazard. Of late, he would pull him out the mire every now and again when they needed something, but now they seem to rely on Lukaku, and since he's been out, they seem to have dipped. But everyone goes through it a little bit of a bad spell. Is this Chelsea's bad spell now? Would you rather get it out of the way now than later on? I always worry when teams are on fire now. And I think it's a long way to go. It's May till the end of the season, and if they're on fire now, it's very rare that you stay on fire for another 6 months. So,
but Rod, you played the position. It looks like a graveyard shift for Timo Werner, Lukaku. The goals that Trevor Chalobah scored, Rudiger scored, Alonso and Chilwell score. Reece James has definitely scored. Mason Mount scored. So the goals are spread around the team.
But they're all goals when they're up and they're winning.
Yeah. But what about Kai Havertz? He's had 4 games at centre forward. He never gets any chances. They don't create anything in the middle. That's a style of play problem, not a form.
Yeah, and like I say, coaches are getting more astute to it and just loading that middle area. Yeah. And they just not be able to create more chances as they would like, and it's difficult for them.
So, do you think they can still? Do you think they can win the Premier League with what they've got and the way they're going, or do you think City and Liverpool have got more?
I don't think they can win the Premier League. I think after looking at this, I think they're still going to be in with a fight to the end because they still have quality. But City and Liverpool are just getting that on that level from where they were 2 years ago. And can Chelsea keep up with that level? That's the question.
I agree. I don't think they can.
Well, Tuchel said that it was individual mistakes that cost them. Now, you look at the subs bench, they had Pulisic, they had Werner, they had Saul. Saul joined from Atletico Madrid, and he came with a big reputation.
It's not going to work, that one, is it?
Well, this is it. And I'm thinking, I think N'Golo Kante might be injured, hence the reason why he didn't play. Is he injured or I don't know?
Yes.
But look, West Ham did their homework. They played 3 at the back. They were absolutely solid. Zuma especially. It's almost as if he was a man possessed. I know he came off injured. But the likes of Bowen and Lanzini, 2 players who, again, they're not major names, but they rang Chelsea ragged second half.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the team very rarely stays the same. And he has had a lot of acclaim, the manager, by changing games in play, spreading the team out, bringing them into the middle of the pitch, playing with 2 number 10s and altering. But you don't see City and Liverpool do that. You really don't. City are playing without a centre forward. Liverpool are 4-3-3 every week. They've got speed, talent. They've got substitute support. Chelsea still look like they are a great team. I want to say that they're a great team, but they are still stumbling along trying to find their best team and formation. City and Liverpool aren't doing that.
we go. There we go. And what about the winner? Did he mean it?
Probably not. What do you think, Rod?
Which one?
He's
Masuaku's.
crossed at the
Come on,
near.
come on, behave. Come on.
I'm just asking.
No, he didn't mean that. No.
I've heard some pundits. Well, one pundit.
If he meant that, why is he playing left back?
I don't know.
Yeah, he left. No, it's sort of one of them weird ones. As it took a deflection, I don't think it has, but he's just hit it, and I think he's just hit it. And I think he's tried to whip one in because Antonio's made the goal for me. You know, we're all told as fullbacks or as wingers, you know, to overlap, create the space. And Antonio's created that space, and then he's tried to whip one in, and he just caught one, and he just pinged it straight in. Side-footed, though, and it's how these balls react. And the Mendy was already on his way onto one side, and yeah, it was unlucky. But lucky, in a way.
All right, let's talk about Man United then.
Sorry, Goonie.
Wreck-It Ralph, as they call him. Wreck-It Ralph. He's come in. He played this 4-2-2-2 system. United get a 1-0 victory against Crystal Palace. It was hard work. In fact, Palace probably should have taken the lead through Ayew when he had that chance. I don't know how he missed. It's probably easier to score than it was to miss. But Fred pulled a worldie out of his arse, and Fred was all over the place. It's almost as if he's, you know, a man possessed these days. He had a good game against Chelsea, good game against Crystal Palace. But going back to what I asked about the Arsenal game, do you think Palace will feel a little bit aggrieved that they didn't come away with anything in that game?
Not for me.
Steve?
Not for me, mate, no.
No?
No, I think United played well enough. They've always got the crowd. They've got new belief, a so-called new formation. I've got to say, I think Dalot and Tellers have got an opportunity to embarrass Wan-Bissaka and Shaw. I thought the overhyping of Shaw has been embarrassing by the whole country when he's only had a good 6 months in 8 years at Manchester United. Everything Mourinho said about him, I agreed with. I don't think he ever did more than enough, and I think he was reverting back to type. And I think Tellers now has got a better delivery and a more frequent delivery. And if United are going to play so many players in the middle of the pitch and the emphasis is on the only width coming from the fullbacks, then Tellers, I believe, potentially can be better than Shaw. And Dalot can be potentially very quickly better than Wan-Bissaka. And the rest of the lads are benefiting from being in central areas. By the way, no, sorry, Stel. Palace to lose 1-0 at Manchester United in any season, including this, they've done all right with that. They couldn't have expected any more.
Yeah, I just think that chance from Ayew cost them. And this is a guy that hasn't scored in about 17 years.
Yeah.
you know, his XG, sorry, Steve, must be 0.01 or something like that.
United were consistently good, progressively good, and it was almost as a supporter who doesn't support Manchester United. I've gone through a lot of my lifetime expecting them to score late. Then I've gone through the last few years quite smiling to myself, thinking they're not going to score late. I'm now back thinking they'll score late, and that's what I thought yesterday.
Mm. Rod, Michael Richards on Match of Day 2 was talking about intensity and tempo, and we did see that. We did see United pressing high. We did see Maguire and Lindelof, 20, 30 yards further up the field when United were attacking, and especially in wide areas. As Steve said, Tellers and Dalot were brilliant. But to see Sancho as kind of like a number 10 playing more central, how do you think he's going to fit into this system? No doubt he's got ability, but he's predominantly a wide player. And if United are going to stretch games with the fullbacks, what is Sancho going to be doing in the middle of the park? Can he play that role?
Yes, by coaching. These modern day footballers, especially. No, he should be able to, in my opinion. But with what I've seen of the first couple of months, no. But what I've seen in the last month, then yes, because he seems to be progressing in a good way. And the coach obviously knows much about him because he's been in Germany for a long time. So he'll obviously know his qualities, and I'm sure he wouldn't have played in that position if he didn't think that he could do it. You know, by all accounts, this Ralph Rangnick is no mug, so he can't come in and expect a player to play in a position that he doesn't believe that he can play in. So yes, I do believe he can play in that position. It's just going to take time, and you know, he's young, he's quick, he's exciting. He can go either way. He seems to be okay with his back against back against to the goal as well. So you know, he's good one touch, two touch football. You know, like I say, he's quick, and he's come on leaps and bounds in the last month. Surely the goals do that, breed confidence, and you can see it. So, to answer your question, yes, he can play that position, I think.
All right, okay. One final question then. We know United got a pretty decent run of games coming up. What do you expect from the next 3 games?
Well, you see the run of games. You expect until we play City in February, you'd expect to at least win every single game of them. No, I know it doesn't work out that way, but you know, on paper, if we're playing well and we're putting pressure on teams, you know, it makes sense to play Dalot and Telles. If we're pressing high and we're getting more ball in a higher position, you'd want the best players to provide the best quality. Wan-Bissaka doesn't provide you with the best quality of ball. Dalot, we've already seen it. He provides quality and, you know, an eye for goal. Telles as well on the other side. So, yeah, I agree with Stes. It's good that they've got their position now and they get a good run of games. But it's always difficult when these players come in and they haven't played for 4 or 5 months, and they come in and they're supposed to hit the ground running, and they struggle, and it's not easy. So it's good when you've had 5 or 6 games, you're up to 90 minutes fitness wise. And you'll probably see the best of them, and you've probably not seen the best of them yet. They're still probably not match fit because they've only probably played 2 or 3 games. But you know they are getting better, and you can see the quality, especially from the wide areas. And like Stes says, if he's going to play that, you know, that 4-2-2, fucking whatever it's 2. You know, you need width with your fullbacks and with their quality, and they've got the hot seat now, so it's in their hands.
Wonderful. All right. Liverpool beat Wolves 1-0. Liverpool had so many opportunities. I don't know how they only came away with 1. There was Jota's chance where he went he had the whole goal to aim at and he just smashed it. I think the occasion got to him. A lot of the fans were getting on his back. And I think this is a guy that wanted to prove a point and just smash it in and wheel away in delight and, you know, cover his mouth or whatever celebration he had planned. But Divock Origi came off the bench and he seems to be Liverpool's Solskjaer at the moment. You know, he's done it quite a bit in the past few seasons. But again, it was a difficult game for Liverpool. I noticed they played an even higher line than they normally do. And I'm surprised Wolves didn't get in behind them more than they did. But Molineux is always a difficult place to go to. And that's a very, very big win for Liverpool, isn't it?
Well, it's a brilliant clean sheet as well. A brilliant win. And when you are a brilliant team and you score in the 94th minute, you know, what that does to your dressing room, your training week, you know, it's incredible. And it only really seems to happen to the top teams, you know, but they keep going. They penetrate until the last minute. They've got impact off the bench if they need it. And Liverpool are never out the game, just like Manchester United were just the same for 12 years. City haven't had to be at that point yet where they have to rescue something late. I'm sure they can if they need to. But Liverpool have shown on Saturday that they've got fitness, speed, endurance, quality, and they go right to the final whistle, just like the top teams do.
Rod, no goal for Salah. No point, not many dream team points there either for us.
Yeah, my captain.
Yeah, and
Fancy team. That's
yeah.
Salah.
Yeah, and I had Jota as my vice captain.
He's crept me past you and Stes. That's Salah. Yeah, he's in a hot spot at the minute, and you know, put him in a position and he's going to score goals. So yeah, it's a scary thought, but it's a worrying thought as well because you know the African nations is only around the corner.
But we don't know if it's going to go ahead with this new variant, you might not go ahead.
Yeah, true, but you still got to prepare for it as if it's going to go ahead. I'm pretty sure that they're still preparing for it to go ahead, and until the news drops that it's not going ahead, it's still a big worry for him. Mane, Salah, that's 2/3 of their attacking prowess that they can't lose. Yes, Origi's come on and got on the late winner, but we've seen it before. He's not the best when he starts game after game. He doesn't produce. He's not Salah. He's not Mane. So hopefully for them, that it does get cancelled. But hopefully for the rest of the Premier League, well, not even for the rest of the Premier League, because you want to see City give City a good run through. You don't want to see them run off with it. It's a good race at the minute with Chelsea just being there as well. So yeah, you don't want to see City run off with it. So hopefully they can manage it while they're away. They've done it in the past and they've done it well. So hopefully they can do it again if it does go ahead. That is.
Steve, big win for Man City away at Oxford. Oxford. What is that? Oxford. Watford. Oxford. They say wear yellow kits, don't they? But there's two things I need to ask you. First of all, did you notice how wide City were playing? They were stretching the play. I noticed Foden playing practically like a left forward. And on top of that, Sterling's goal. I know Silva's going to get all the plaudits and he deserves them. But Sterling's goal, it's almost as if this is Sterling's trademark now, just staying on the edge of the 6-yard box and being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, it's a great knack. It's a skill in itself.
How do they not pick him up? Surely they do their research.
Yeah, you would think so, but I just think that there'll be loads of times he's in there and he doesn't get it and we miss it. But I just think defenders now are coached and trained to try and stop the cross, and they fill the zones. They basically cover the goal, and they'll do the job loads of times. But I think Sterling just keeps getting in there, in and around that back post, and he gets his luck for all his endeavours. Sometimes it deflects in his path, but he's excuse me, he's just one of them players that he gets an outstretched leg. The bobbling ball goes to him. Other players could go in there 100 times and it never go to them. So he's got that knack, and I don't think he gets appreciated enough for it still.
Steve, do you know what I've noticed is a pattern that emerges with City every season, whereby Guardiola will start off with a handful of regulars. We don't know roughly the team lineup that he's going to put out, but he often plays 4 or 5 players who are just his guys, so to speak. At the beginning of the season, we were talking about, Bernardo Silva wasn't playing, Sterling wasn't playing. Possibly they could be leaving the club in January, and here they are, given their opportunities.
Yeah.
And they're not letting Guardiola down. So is this fantastic man management, or is it the fact that he's utilising his squad to the best of its capabilities?
Well, you can't put anything against this manager. He's capable of anything. He's capable of anything good. Interesting. He played Grealish through the middle for large parts on Saturday, Sterling on the right, and Foden on the left. Now, he often plays, wrong footers on the other side. But I've noticed something. I picked up on this. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I think when he recognises that the other team have got a slow centre half, he plays full width with a right footer on one side and a left on the other to try and stretch the other team's back 4 out. Now, Harry Maguire is slow and Craig Cathcart is slow, and City went full width and Gundogan and Grealish to run through the gaps that are so huge because they have all the ball, they swing the play, and they have balance on both sides on both wide touchlines. And that's what I'm going to keep my eye on, because that's what I think they do. And for the rest of the squad, keeping them hungry. The thing is about Bernardo Silva leaving, he's supposed to be offered a make weight for Spurs, for Harry Kane, somewhere else. I never heard the player say it, so I was never convinced. And quite clearly now, if the season ended today, he would have one hand on the PFA Player of the Year, and probably Mo Salah would have the other hand on it. And they've been the two most outstanding players in the world, I'm going to say.
Fantastic. Boys, let's talk about 2 particular games here, right?
Let me just mention. He mentioned Sterling now. He said it's no accident that how the ball always lands to Sterling. These sort of players, they grow up playing in cages or on the streets. So it's always bobbling, and so it's no coincidence that Sterling's he's grown up by doing that. And it's like I say, it's no coincidence. And he's a proper live wire. I messaged Stes when the game was on. He was a proper, danger for Watford from the first whistle, and they just were on the back foot from the first whistle, and he was the leader of it.
Brilliant. There you go. Fantastic. Boys, I want to talk about two games with two very similar incidents. There was Newcastle beating Burnley 1-0. Newcastle's winner coming from Callum Wilson.
Brilliant
After Nick Pope was, he held the ball and he clattered into Share, dropped the ball, and Wilson scored. And Aston Villa beating Leicester 2-1, coming back from behind, where Villa had the goal disallowed because the goalkeeper was Schmeichel in control of the ball. He had one hand on the ball. The law says if a goalkeeper's got a hand on the ball and it's on the ground and it's like on a surface, then he's in control of it. Now, this isn't sour grapes or anything, because obviously Rhodri and I go back and forth with about Eddie Howe. But what was the difference between Callum Wilson's goal, where Nick Pope had it in both hands and he fell and Share was in his way, effectively obstructing him, to Kasper Schmeichel's incident? In fact, for me, Pope was more of a foul than Schmeichel. Am I wrong to interpret it that way?
Did it look like Kasper had more control of the ball because he had it spotted on the grass flat, as opposed to the Newcastle Pope one because it was in flight?
Right.
I don't know.
They had it in both hands.
So let me intervene here. So I've watched it this morning, and
Which one?
Like the Dermot Gallagher ref watch, and the ball was not planted. The ball, when he kicked it, was off the ground.
Okay.
And this is something that they went to VAR for, right? So
yeah, but it's only one other angle where you can see it, where on the side angle, which they did not see on the TV as the match was going. But as you can see it, the ball, because it's proper slow mo. So sometimes these slow motions don't help, because Schmeichel had it on his hands for literally half a second, and in that time, when he's touched it, the ball, it doesn't just stop, does it? Very rarely just stops. It usually bounces up once, and that's what it's done. And that bounce is when he kicked it.
Okay.
So which one was more of a foul?
And none of them are fouls for me, to be honest. No, but the way the game's going, obviously. But the Schmeichel one, I couldn't believe. Cause I'm still in the thought process thinking, wait a minute, has he got to have two hands on the ball?
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, fair one. I'm not sure, mate.
And when did that change? So do you get, like, when you're obviously coaching or managing, do the managers get the new rules every year?
Yes.
New set of rules?
Yes.
Right.
They go to a convention, Rod, spend a day functioning, and come back and then report it all back to their own staff and players. Probably with some literature, but yeah, they go away and whatever's changed in the game, and then they have a day together, all the managers and the officials. I don't know about the change. I don't know what's changed and I don't know what's right and what's wrong though.
Yeah, apparently it's Rule 12, whatever that means to anyone.
There's so many grey areas at the minute in football, and you'd think with this video coming in, everything would be black or white. And that's what I told you before when it's coming in. You're still going to get controversy, because I've seen it before with the rugby. You're always going to get it. It's just, yeah, and it's always going to boil down to one opinion, and that's the referee's opinion, how he sees it. And another referee might see it a different way. So we're just looking for that thing that we always look for in football, is consistency. And unfortunately, we don't get it.
Well, speaking of consistency, Brendan Rodgers has spoken numerous occasions about his team's defending from set pieces and how consistently bad they are. And Villa's winning goal, I don't know what Soyuncu was doing. I don't know what Kasper Schmeichel was doing. The whole thing was a mess, wasn't it? And hey, listen, the guy that scored the winner praised Villa's new set piece coach for the goal.
Well, good for him, because it shows you that there's some evidence that there's some work going on. Yet the commentary on
aiming back stick, yeah?
aiming back stick, but Mings went and occupied the two defenders, and Suchik never even checked his shoulder to see. So basically, Mings took care of two, and Conser came in at the back post and headed down into the floor. It'd be a disappointing goal to concede, but I was just interested to say that there's a set play coach done the work, and you get some fruits of your labour. Well done to him. But I also heard that Manchester United are the only Premier League club to not score from a set play this year, yet they've just employed one from Loughborough University for some reason to do so. So, swings and roundabouts.
And Rod, Eddie Howe, big win against his former club, even though he was only there for a cup of coffee. What will that do for Newcastle?
18, 20 months. It's,
Yeah, give us
longer than Mick McCarthy and all that.
Oh, yeah, it's Mick McCarthy. What can I tell you? But yeah, so what will that win do for Newcastle, mate? Confidence-wise,
just confidence, mate. Just confidence, and wins breed confidence, and if you're constantly doing the right things and not getting the results, it knocks your confidence. So they've been. You can see it's turned a little bit there. They've scored a few more goals. Yes, they've been lucky with a sending off and the 3-3 draw, but now they seem to have got a 1-0 win. A tough win by all accounts, and they just on to the next game. Soon it'll be January where they can. I'm pretty sure that they'll bring at least 2, possibly 3 quality players in that'll improve the squad. And you'll see them rise up the table with Super Eddie, because he's only going one way.
I think they might get a right back from Spain. I've just got a feeling. An English right back in Spain. Just got a feeling.
Okay.
Cha-ching!
Fair enough. Well, listen, goals win games, obviously, but Newcastle have only scored 1 in their last 3. So that's got to be a concern, surely.
Well,
they did have a man.
They
did have a man sent off very, very early against Norwich, where you'd have expected them to score more than 1 and win. So they played most of that game with 10 men. Kieran Clark sent off, and they should have scored more on Saturday. I'm certainly not convinced by them, but I think they're going to be fine still.
Okay.
Yeah, you left that out, didn't you, Stel? The man got sent off for 9 minutes.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant.
How did Graham Potter do? Still another draw.
Well, listen, let's talk about that one then.
Yeah.
Because
let me get the pillow. 1 minute.
Hang about. Let me finish. Right. This is a guy who was under quite a bit of pressure a couple of weeks ago. After the Leeds game, fans were booing him, whatever. But
wait a minute, Stel. Come on, is that pressure?
No, well, yeah, of course it is.
No,
when the fans turn on you, it's pressure.
He's built an expectation from his fans.
He wasn't fearing. He wasn't going to bed fearing for his job that night, was he?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
And he shouldn't.
He's got his bed like out. Wait a minute, we're what 8 from the bit booed. Okay, I'm doing something right because expectations are high, so that's good.
Yeah,
but
with 10 men, they got a goal in.
I would say, like Stel to Man United, to the fans, cool your jets, just relax and just be happy.
Just saying that I think they did well with 10 men to score a goal in injury time. Yeah, and the finish was brilliant. When a
team scores injury time with 10 men, Sted will tell you what you're defending for. You're just going to throw the whole kitchen sink at it. You're not going to go and attack because you're going to defend it. It's just human nature.
Still,
and they end up losing one.
You thought they did really well with 10 men?
Well, no, I think they did well to equalise with 10 men.
But you didn't mention Newcastle played for 80 minutes with 10 men the week before.
Yeah, but come on. Rodri keeps telling us that Eddie Howe's this superb head coach. I expect it from a team like Newcastle. No, I'm just saying. Eddie Howe is supposed to be this superb head coach. His team should be doing better with 10 men because he's so good. He's so progressive.
Well, 80 minutes.
He did.
But his Graham Potter coming from Sweden.
He was unlucky not to win it. They scored in the last minute with 10 men.
Who? Brighton, yeah.
Yeah, no. Newcastle went 1-0 up with 10 men.
And Pookie equalised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Brighton, 10 men down, they're struggling. They're going to
away from home in a derby.
They're going to drop like a stone. The fans are going to get on the manager's back because he ousted him when he booed him, and that'll be it for him.
Yeah,
You'll
we'll
see
see.
him. You'll see him in Cyprus in 2 years. We've already
Well,
had
that's
this
all right.
conversation.
Bring him to Cyprus. Bring him to Cyprus. I got no problem with it.
Shave
got no problem with
shave
it.
that beard. It's warm over there.
A good point, Stel. They've got good players, a good manager, and good resilience, and probably fans now who are over expecting of where they actually should be. But you're right. It was a really good last minute goal. Good point. Good rescue.
Well, listen, all I've got to say is, right, Eddie Howe, he's got a management team above him that have got ideas to bring another manager in. He's not going to be there long term.
No, but Eddie Howe's been promoted. He hasn't got someone else. Another team got promoted and then took over that job. Graham Potter's just come into a ready-made team of Chris Houghton. Eddie.
No, it's relegation candidates to top 10. Come on.
Chris Houghton, come on, he kept him safe, kept him up, and then they sacked him.
And what happened? They sacked him because they were going to get relegated.
No, they kept him up.
Well, the following season they were going to get relegated, so they got scared.
Okay.
Come on.
You couldn't see that.
Come on, of course I could see that. Anyone could see that.
No, I bet, joking aside, like I said, he's got expectations high. They're playing well. They're up well in the league. And Brighton just need to kill the Jets because, they are doing well and with a lack of strike force because they haven't got the best strikers up there. With better strikers, I'm pretty sure they'd be even higher up. So hopefully they get one in January because it's only going to get harder when you're up there. Teams, prepare better or up for it better. I don't know why that is the case, but if the teams are up there, they're going to be ready for you. So it's going to only get more difficult as it goes on.
Steve, if Leeds had better strikers, would they be further up the table? Because Bamford came off the bench to score an equaliser, his first goal since.
I've got to say, I mean, Bernardo Silva, amazing. We know this, but that was my favourite goal of the weekend. Bamford, that is proper old school. That last minute, a corner, he shoves him in the back, and he just sticks out his thigh and scores off the end. Again, we talked about Sterling before. There's 500 players in the Premier League that couldn't score that goal. It's that hard to do. It's a skill to be in the right place, to have the right temperament, and just to score off your inner thigh in that moment. I was smiling, thinking, good on you. And it's a good job that he's back fit, and long may it continue for them because I only saw a struggle without him, and I see better things, obviously, that he's back. Proven by his cameo.
Well, look, it's a good point for Leeds given the circumstances. Obviously, they beat Crystal Palace the other day, and it's given them a bit of a boost. But again, Steve, and I know people are going to start saying to me, "Oh, you're picking on Bielsa again," but the goals that they conceded, especially the second,
and something else, Stel, as well. They're two key English leaders on the field, both off with strains. Cooper's looked like a really deep hamstring strain. That'll be 6 to 8. And Phillips just walked off, not quite unconsolable, but motionless, really. The fact that he's done something that he needs to go straight down the tunnel with. So they've still got issues and problems. And the bigger problems are what you quite rightly say. You expect them to concede from set plays, and you expect them to score goals that they should concede goals that they shouldn't, and that's part of their DNA at the moment.
Steve, knowing the game that, like you do, so to speak, when you talk about load and volume, what do you think these Leeds players are going through on a daily basis when they're in training? And the reason why I ask is because a lot of these injuries, again, they're muscular. So is it an accumulation of constant load and volume over the past few seasons under Bielsa? And obviously, Phillips had the Euros, so that's obviously going to play its part. I don't think he had a long break between the end of the Euros and the league season. We talk about the burnout, but the burnout also comes with the injuries as well, no?
Well, I'll be interesting to see what Rhodri thinks of this because genuinely, he could sprint. I can run, but I can't sprint. He can sprint. So I'll be interested to know what he says. But there's two ways I see a problem with this. I'm not going to touch on the gym work. I don't know what they do. The weights, how much weights they do, the stability work. Not going near that. That's not my field. But there's two ways. You have to prepare through the week to how you're going to play on a Saturday. So presumably, They are sprinting like mad all week because they sprint like mad on a Saturday. And eventually, we've always said it, hit, miss, or maybe, they're going to sprint somebody off the pitch and win. They're going to leave gaps for opposition and they'll win, or they'll pick up loads of injuries. Now, the opposite of that is, are they not doing it through the week because they're saving themselves to sprint like mad on a Saturday, and that's how you get injured on the Saturday, because all of a sudden you're going from low load to high intensity. So there's two ways that I only see like a big red flashing light around it: sprinting like mad all week, sprinting on the Saturday, and sprinting just on the Saturday and taking your time through the week so you're at peak condition. Basically, sprinting like mad can have your benefit, but it can also have your cost. What do you think, Rod?
Muted, mate.
Yeah, you just got to put the work in with the training. You know, you can't try and fake it through the week. You've got to put the work in, and no one knows your body better than yourself. So, yeah, you just got to put the work in, and everyone's different. You know, I'm lucky enough. I've got a body that I could sprint on long distance. But they never really picked up hamstrings injuries. They only picked them up when I played charity games, and that's because I really didn't warm up, I didn't stretch.
So why do you think they're possibly getting a trail of them now, Rod? Why do you think that might be? I've covered it twice that it could be, but why do you think
I think they pushed them too hard.
What, through the week? Yeah, you think maybe?
Possibly, but then again, it's all monitored now, all this training and stuff. So I don't know how they can fake it through the week. So it's difficult to say. What was your experience? Do you ever experience it when you was?
Well, no, because this high intensity sprinting, it's not completely new, but everyone's gone mad for it, haven't they? And Stel's just pinpointed the fact that Leeds are evidence that Ayling, Bamford, Cooper, and Phillips, I have to say, 4 English lads. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I do think you can train your body to it. When Klopp come in, there was a lot of injuries. You don't really see them anymore, and so I do think there's a way around it. When you're putting this hard work in the training, people don't really understand how important it is to, when you finish training, go home and rest. Don't be doing other activities and tiring yourself out. It's your job, so you work hard in training, and then you try and go home and rest as much as you can. And some of these players don't. They've got other activities going on, and they're travelling all over the place. So that could be a factor as well.
Yeah, but there, Stel, your question, their injuries and their goals, how they concede goals, are something to monitor, because it looks like an ongoing problem.
The reason why I asked that question about the fitness and the load and all that kind of stuff, Steve, is I remember the first goal that Leeds conceded from Baptiste. It all started from Brentford's left, which was Leeds' right, and Dallas was on Henry, and Dallas has played in every position apart from the centre back. He's played every position. So he's played right back, left back. He's played right wing, left wing, centre mid this season. He's played all 15 games, 90 minutes as well. But the way that he was manhandled, this is a guy that you're expecting is a bit strong, a bit tough. He can get stuck in, but it's almost as if he was completely brushed off the ball. And when I saw it, I thought, okay, Henry's a strong lad. But you're thinking, come on, Dallas is a physical player, man. We've seen it. We've seen him get stuck in. And it's almost as if he looked tired more than anything.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I don't know. Watch it when you get the chance and watch it again. Just see how Dallas was completely. It's as if he wasn't there.
Yeah, I can believe it.
It was bad. It was bad.
It is. Well, we're almost at halfway of the season, and the pitches are getting heavier. The training pitches are certainly getting heavier. If the stadium pitches are staying pristine, and it's getting colder, which you tend to believe is more likely, to increase muscle injury. And some clubs are right on top of it, and possibly some clubs aren't. And Leeds is definitely one to monitor, because they've got a profile like now, a portfolio of high tariff players.
There's one more game I just want to touch on very quickly, and that's Tottenham's 3-0 victory over Norwich. Now, the scoreline suggests that it was an annihilation, but it was far from it. There was two big opportunities that Norwich had, and while Conte has come in, and we talk about Conte's style and how he's trying to be more defensively astute, Tottenham continue to concede opportunities. And, okay, Norwich were wasteful in front of goal. If Tottenham are playing against a better team, they're getting punished. That's not a 3-0 scoreline, is it?
No, and I thought Conte was brilliant. He doesn't seem to be silly with the aftermatch stuff. He's not really got loads of adrenaline going through his body, dead balanced. And he just said, happy to win. But if we are to continue to improve, to try and win the bigger prizes, we will have to do better than this. I thought that was, I didn't think that was damning on Norwich City. I thought that was a message into his dressing room. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant management.
Well, Moura's goal, his goal just completely knocked the stuffing out of Norwich, because that was a fantastic goal. It was very well worked. But again, Norwich had an opportunity to level up, and you're thinking, all right, we know that Spurs are Spursy. You know, they've got mistakes in them. We saw them capitulate in Europe this season. And I think with Conte joining at this stage of the season, or when he did, should I say, obviously he didn't have a pre-season. He hasn't been able to bring in the players that he wants. Spurs have also had issues defensively. I think Romeo's out injured at the moment, which is a big loss for them, because he's their best central defender, really. I know Davinson Sanchez scored, but at the same time, you know, what I like about Conte is that, as you said, you know, he wasn't the Conte on the touchline gesticulating, yelling, all that kind of stuff. He said at full time, you know, we need to build a foundation here and grow on it. And I think that's important that Daniel Levy sticks to him, because we know his track record as a head coach, Conte. He's successful. We've seen it. I'm not saying that he's going to turn Spurs into title challengers, far from it. But, you know, to get them to a level where they can compete for top four, which is where they want to be first and foremost, he's on the right track. That being said, it's about time and it's about patience. And while beating Norwich City 3-0 is great, you know, when you got United and City and Liverpool and all these other teams, Arsenal to come, that's when the proof is in the pudding, right?
Absolutely. It feels proper to me now. It feels it's the start of a proper operation. I know they've had, you know, top class managers. Certainly, Mourinho, you knew what you were getting. You felt Nuno, he'd earned his chance, whatever choice he was to be their manager. But you do feel like they've got a proper leader now who won't settle for low standards, low performances, or not being successful. I think they're on the right track. I really do.
Brighton on the horizon on Sunday.
Who've they got?
Brighton on the 12th.
Tough game. Is that away at home? Away or?
Yeah, it's away. It's away. Then they got Leicester away, Liverpool at home, West
So
Ham.
Tottenham have got Brighton away, Leicester, then Liverpool.
Yep.
It's difficult. I'm surprised now how high up they are. That, you know, if they win the game in hand, they go fourth.
They do. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Ahead of West Ham. So yeah, all to play for. All to play for.
Yeah, I'm pretty
All
sure.
right, boys.
Pretty sure they'll walk the next game, and then they've got two tough games to come.
One more thing before we wrap it up. There's a message here. Aubameyang is fried. Is that it for him?
Agreed.
Is he done out here?
He had a glorious chance, last kick of the game, and he fluffed it in a big way. It was a side foot, relatively easy. Could have had a touch, but didn't. Chose to go first time, and you'd expect him to at least hit the target, you know, with his quality. And he was 6 yards wide, and it was literally the last kick of the game. It was a really good opportunity, and yet blown it. You know, so that's one of the players. Unfortunately, you know, he's got his contract. You know, he likes the flash cars, the mirrored kind of cars. Likes the flash outfits. Not for me at all.
So do you think that's what it is then? They've given him the contract and he's just happy to sit on it, because at least with Harry Kane...
Stel, before that, he was flying. They've given him a big contract. So you tell me.
Yeah. Well, it's
not a matter of performing. It's a matter of work rate. desire, quality, just working for your team. Will you still go for a brick wall? No, he won't, because he's got his big contracts and he's happy to, That's unfortunately these days you didn't really see that back in the day, but unfortunately you see it a lot these days. They're in it. It's just a job. They don't love it. They don't like it. They don't really. It's not the world. They're just in it for a job. They get a payday, and unfortunately that's what it looks like with Aubameyang.
The thing is, with him and Kane, they were two of the most prolific goal scorers in recent history, and they've both gone completely down the toilet. Now, on the one hand, I can see why Harry Kane isn't scoring. He's obviously started the season hoping for that move to City. It hasn't worked out. Mourinho leaving, Conte coming in.
You mean one of their own, Harry Kane?
Well, wasn't he an Arsenal fan growing up?
Oh, okay. No, just to quick clarify that. Go on.
I don't know. I think he was an Arsenal fan growing up, wasn't he? But
they sing at the ground. They sing one of their own. So no matter what awkward disputes you've got upstairs, if you play for the fans and the football club, and you can clearly see down tools, quite clearly.
So, Steve, what's the difference between Kane and Aubameyang?
Well, Kane.
In terms of like their dip in form, why do you think
Kane's a better player originally? Kane's a better player now, and Kane will be a better player in the future. I think Rhodri probably went near it there in terms of temperament and attitude. It was slightly in question with Kane. Had he had his head turned by Man City, and had it affected him? And was he, losing faith in football? But the England performances helped with the fixtures they played, etc., to get his hunger back. And you kind of I'll speak for myself. I can't speak for everybody. You kind of think that Harry Kane's coming back, and it's just a little spell that strikers go through, and he'll still end up probably with 20 goals. And you're looking, will Aubameyang get 10? Because I'm not expecting a mood change from him, and I'm not expecting a form change, but I'm expecting both from Harry Kane.
No, and Arteta, it's not good for Arteta because he made this clown his captain. He's your captain.
Mm.
Then his vice captain is Granit Xhaka, who's getting sent off every 2 minutes. So he's not, you manage a backshow, and you can't keep on letting him down, and because eventually they're not going to go. He's going to go.
Yeah, see, this is it. Do you remember back in March when we were talking about Aubameyang turning up late for training? That's when it all really started, wasn't it? When he was
like
5.
Stuff like that, yeah.
He was turning up late for training.
But that's would that have happened 20 years ago? It had been put in his place by Tony Adams or whoever was there, and that wouldn't have happened. So where's that discipline gone from the Arsenal Football Club? Because Arsenal Football Club was steeped in tradition, and now it's got this clown turning up late to one of the biggest clubs in the country, and he's captain, so he should be leading example. He should be setting examples, not turning up late. This is where Arsenal have got problems. That shouldn't be happening. Full stop.
Well, the thing is, we touched on it back in March, and it's not the first time that Aubameyang did something like that. I think he did that when he was at Dortmund as well, and he was pining for a move abroad, and he wanted to leave the club, etc., etc. And this isn't a let's smash Aubameyang kind of segment. And look,
but you've got young players there as well, Stel, who easily influenced, and I'm pretty sure when young players come up, they look at the experienced players to guide them and to try and follow them in the footsteps. You can't follow this guy.
I was just thinking then just about the comparison as well. You do get the feeling that Kane is still a team player, and he's chasing every record he can get because he wants a legacy. I'm not sure Aubameyang's got the appetite for legacy. I'm not sure he want to chase down Ian Wright's record, chase down whoever it's, the next one in front. I don't believe the passion.
Yeah, one wants to win trophies and one's just down tools because he's been paid. There's a big difference.
Okay, fair enough. The one thing I will say, though, you mentioned how Aubameyang has got kids at the club and they look up to him. Surely, when the kids at Spurs are seeing Harry Kane wanting to play alongside him, and then he's saying, I don't really want to be here. And there was that big hoo-ha with Levy and the statement in the summer. Does that
No,
reflect
but
well?
he hasn't really got a leg to stand on, mate. He signed a contract, a really good contract. You know,
Still got 3 years left, I
he
think.
probably has had a gentleman's agreement, but come on, that's about as useless. It's just useless, isn't it? It's just obviously, you know, he's a big asset. We all know Daniel Levy, what he's like. He's not going to let him go for pittance, and that's what he thought he was going for. So, yeah, he's nose to be out of joint for 6 months. I'm sure Daniel Levy's got over it now, and like you say, he seems to have picked up his performances. You know, probably Antonio Conte has that effect on people. He seems like an infectious kind of guy, but an intense guy, but a manager that you definitely want to play for and work hard for.
Yeah, he's fine.
The thing is, though, in closing, should I say, how much is Kane worth now? Because obviously his form has dipped drastically. We've seen the likes of Antonio banging in goals left, right, and centre. You know, who's
this is the problem that Tottenham are going to have now, because it's probably the same price because of his dip, because he doesn't look like the same player, and they can produce evidence of that. Well, who's this guy? Look at what he was doing last year to look what he's done this year. So it's going to go against Tottenham. So will they want to sell him for a lower price than they want? It's just going to go on and on. I'm pretty sure, for me, that they'll dig the reels in. They'll want him to stay, and City will move on and get someone else in, and that'll be it. Because City not going to wait around. If I'm pretty sure they'll have a target, but they'll have a 2 or 3 behind it, because they can't keep going on, even though the quality they've got. They can't keep going on with no number 9.
Well, imagine City win the league with only one recognised striker, and he's not really a centre forward.
More than capable of doing that. But for year after year after year, come on, they just can't do it. They haven't won the Champions League yet. I don't think they can do it without getting a number 9 in. So yes, they're a great team, but you still have to have as many options as you can, and to have like a Sergio Aguero on the bench or to be playing. Come on, what would you rather?
There you go. All right, boys, it's been another fun episode. Thanks for jumping on. We'll be back very soon. So I'd ask if you guys want to plug any social media, but I don't think we can be bothered. Unless Rod wants to plug his podcast. You plug your podcast, Rod?
Ace Podcast Nation, Friday nights, 7:30.
Let's go. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be back next week.